So good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining this episode of our webinar series. We're going to this series 4. Today we have, besides me and James Badcock that normally are presenting these episodes, we have Carlo Riveral. He's also a BIM consultant in our GRAPHISOFT Singapore and Malaysia team. Super savvy guy, is the one to go to when we need to adopt all these new technologies. He's always a very good person to be talking about this kind of topic. So we had already two episodes on this series. This is the episode number 3.
Yes, hello.
Hi, Catherine.
Hi.
Welcome. So we had two episodes so far. One was to talk about interoperability using OpenBIM, IFC. What are the best practices or the things that we should take into consideration? Then we had last week, James was presenting on how we could use the RFA and RVT geometry exchange to bring Revit families into Archicad and how we can use them. And today we're going to talk about automation inside Archicad. So basically using Python scripts and using Paramo to create parametric objects that will be part of our library that we can work together. So basically we'll have this divided into two main parts. I'll be talking about Paramo, and Carlo will showcase the automation with the Python scripts. Next week, we'll have a very special guest coming from Hong Kong, Mr. Ricardo Diaz. He's an architect working for GVDC, known as short for Global Virtual Design and Construction. And he will showcase how they're using precast, so PPVC units in Hong Kong. They call it MIC, so Modular Integrated Construction, and showing how they use Archicad and BIMX and to track the construction progress. So this will be very interesting. I invite you all to join this session. So as I mentioned, today will be about Paramo and Python. Let me start with Paramo first. Basically, you all can access this technology. If you have Archicad 24, you can just go to GRAPHISOFT website. I put here the QR code that you can use to get this technology or this tool or this add-on. So for now, it has to be downloaded and installed in Archicad 24. I can imagine that in the next versions, it should be shipped in with everything. James, I think you share the link, right?
Yep.
On the text, on the chat. Okay. Yep. Thank you for that. Then, basically, what is this Paramo? This allows us to create Archicad library objects that are parametric. So for those who know, the Archicad objects are actually by default scripted with GDL coding, and this is something that is not accessible to everyone, so you should know how to program in GDL. It's a very specific language to Archicad so that you can create your objects. So this Paramo, using the kind of node-based language, allows you to come out with these kind of geometries that are parametric, and then we can add them to our library and and even keep further editing them. So let's see here. So I have here an example. By default in our website, we have few examples, and you can see that we can use some reverse engineering to go through and understand, okay, we're having all these blocks and shapes here, and we can see where these nodes are connected. For those who are familiar with the parametric design tools like Grasshopper or Dynamo or other parametric design tools, This has quite a similar approach. So basically we have nodes and connections between the nodes, and then we can key in parameters or values that you can see here. For example, the leg thickness, the top thickness, the deck width, the deck gap, and so on. So you can use these objects to learn. There's also a few videos available online. Users are starting to share about this, how this works. So the first part I would like to show you, I'll guide you through a couple of objects that I was doing today. So this will be the first, this was my first trial I've done here. So let's see. Okay, so basically, can you see my screen with Archicad?
Yep.
So basically here, you can see that I have already a pergola object, and we're also going to do a round table. So this is like super simple. It's 3 cylinders that are making this round table, and we have this pergola that I've set basically. So we can just set the number of elements that we want to be repeated. So let's say we want 4, and it will just place 4 elements. So this can be used in our project. You can see that they are being represented immediately on the plan. We can go to 3D and see this element in 3D. If I want to extend the number of elements that this pergola has, I can just add the number of columns here. Let's say I want 10. So it has added a few more elements to my pergola. Let's say I want to change the material, so I have the column surface, and I want them to be, let's say, marble for some reason. So I make it marble. We could use also this to create, for example, a cabinet or a kitchen object, so that we could change the materials very easily. Then we can change also the dimensions of these elements. So let's say I want to change the beam height, so I want to make it 200. You see, I make this beam higher, or even the width, or any further elements on this object. So basically, we still keep the same 2D representation, and even elements like the pen sets, they can be controlled here. So you see, I have my column pen using a pen for stone, for wood. So if I want to change this to some other pen, check here. Let's say if I want to change this to some other pen, let's say stones, I want to use this one, which is actually quite similar. Say I want to put this black pen. I can actually have, one pen for one type of element and another pen for another type of element. So this really makes us change the way how the object looks, both in 2D, 3D, and even the shape. So I even put like some parameter, like for spacing. I put here 5 mm of spacing in between these elements, or I can choose even to put 0, and now my elements follow through exactly how this works. So I'm going to select here and open a little bit this object and show you the kind of spaghetti we get from this. So basically, we have multiple nodes. I call this one the beam, I call this one the column, and then we have the spaghetti that is connecting these. I'm not going to explain this one. I'm just going to show you that by having it here, we can actually have a preview of what we are programming when we are adding these elements. So for example, I have this beam or this radius for this steel rod that I want here to go through all these beam elements. I can just increase here and see how it looks. Okay, So being said all this, I think we can create, you see, every time that I change this, the object, this goes to our through our library and refreshes this. We can also see that under the file, libraries and objects, we have all these Paramo, how should I say, options here. One is to go to the Paramo manager. This one will show us the objects that we have here, and it says that they're existing and they're part of our library. In case we want to export them, we can just export from here and have these files. Another important thing is that these objects, they become part of our embedded library. So if we have a lot of these, we should take them, export them into a folder. So inside the embedded library, we export them into a folder and then we load them in. Actually, this is a best practice that we should have for every object that ends up in the embedded library. This is one of the, I would say, one of the things that cause a lot of problems. So when we just start bringing in a lot of objects from outside, and then our embedded library becomes super huge. So yeah, so we have these two objects here on the library. Being this an object, we can also choose to open the object in two ways. One is by choosing the option to open object, and here we can choose to see, you know, the 2D representation, the elevation, the 3D, and even a preview. So I went and added a object preview to place here, and we can even choose the subtype of element. Let's say we created a door panel or a door handle, and we want to add this to a door element type. So we just go here and we choose the exact type of element that we have created. Okay, so we can go to furnishing. It can be you know, medical equipment. So we can just classify them so that it looks exactly so that it ends up exactly where we want. Okay, so now let's jump into creating the table then. So basically, we've seen Paramo manager, open selected Paramo object. It's what I've done before to show you the script of this pergola. And now I'm going to choose a new Paramo object. Okay. So basically, you can see I can have two previews here. One is, I see here, once I bring a cylinder, you can see this is the script that is generated by the cylinder node. Okay, so if you don't want to see if you want to see the preview, I just press Control P or Command P. I'm actually using this for Mac now. At this moment, it wasn't released yet, the Mac version. We have backdoor access from our HQ, especially for this session, because I'm a Mac user. But in Windows, this is already available since the release of Archicad 24. So yeah, basically the next update, you should be able to have it for Mac already. So you see, when I put here a cylinder, immediately it places a cylinder on the 0, 0 of our screen. And then I can take many elements. Let's say I want to take a length and add it to the height. I want to take another length and add it to the radius. Okay, then I can name this property. So I'll call it, let's say I have the table already. I'll just do some chairs or some cylinder seats that we see, for example, in a hawker center. So I'll put here the leg radius. So this is how I will call this node. I want to create this parameter so that we can use it inside Archicad. And then the name of the parameter I want is this one. The value, let's say I want it to be 0.05, and the step 0.01. Step means like how much I want them to increase. So I want it to increase every centimeter. One important thing here is that Paramo is always in meters. Even though your file could be in millimeters inside Archicad, when we're programming, when we're creating the objects, this is always in millimeters. And I say that this is true because I want this parameter to be available inside Archicad when I'm checking the objects. So you see now, the radius for this is 5 centimeters. Okay, and if I want to make it smaller, I just increase here or decrease here. Then for the length that they have here, I'll put leg height. This parameter also goes here. I want it to be true. Let's say I want it 0.4. And the step is also every 0.1. Okay. So I have my cylinder here. One of them is here. And the next cylinder will have exactly the same settings. So I can just select everything. I copy the nodes, and I'll even place it here on top. Paste the nodes. Obviously, this one won't be the, so I can call this one the post, and I call this one the seat. Okay. Obviously, the height here will now be different. Let's say instead of leg height, I like to give them the right name. So seat height, and the value will be, let's say, 4 centimeters. I'm good with that. The radius will be, surely needs to be wider. Let's say 20. And you see that he has placed the object on the same location as the previous one. So what do we need to do? We need to move it exactly above our seating post, correct? So for this, we're gonna have a thing that is called a transformation. So what we'll do is we'll move this the exact height that our leg has, right? So this move will actually be added here as a transformation. So we will jump up there, okay? So in case, let's say I make the seat lower, the cylinder will follow the height of this. Okay, and now probably we want to, change other things as well. For example, I want to have a pen for the whole object. So you see, I can also double click on my screen, and then I just write the parameter name. So I put pen here. I want this pen to be true, visible on the, I call it object pen. And I will choose, okay, I want this to be gray, for example. So I take this one, and because I want everything for the whole object, I can even move it to both of them. Same thing goes for a surface. So I choose a surface. So this is a material that I want this to have. If I want the same material for both of them, let's say I put here marble black, I can say post surface. I want to create this parameter inside Archicad so that I can change this. And if I want to connect this to both of them will have the same finish. If I want a different one, I can just copy the node, paste. And interesting, like the order that we have here will be the order that the elements will have. So I'll put this one on the whole surface and I will call it seat surface and seat surface. Obviously, I could go through a more complex setup here, but what I want you to see is that what is the logic behind this and how I created the other objects. You can go through, the scripts that are available on our website. So on the Paramo page, you'll be able to see them. And now you'll see once I save this object here, I'll call it seat. I have a table and now I have a seat. So where are these? They are available here on the library. So basically you can see that I have this table here. And now I can place the seat next to the table. And I can even now, let me just, yeah. So let's say, let me distribute this probably better. Rotate, spread every 30 degrees. So I'm placing seats, probably a bit too many.
Yeah,
but you can see here, yeah, there's no social distancing here. Let's say, okay, let's take a few off. So you can see here, like very simply, I can just place all these, and let's say I want to change the color of these ones because these ones are for social distancing. So they will have red. So these ones that are in red cannot be used. So you see very easily we can start changing the parameters of this. So let's say the height of the table, this one will be a kids table, so we want 600. We want to change the radius of the table base. We want to make it bigger. So very easily we can start adjusting. Also the tabletop radius, we want this a bigger table. So we do 700. So you see very easily we can start having these parametric objects to add to our library. And as I mentioned before, these are just objects, normal objects from Archicad. So in case we want to, even create a preview or something about for this object, I can just take a screenshot of this element. Then I can select the object, go under libraries and objects, and under open object, I can go to the preview picture and just add it here so that we have a preview of the element every time we're going to use it. I save it. And now when I go to my objects, now I can see I have a preview of the pergola and I have a preview of my round table, and I can also do the same for the seat. And again, you can see here that these are the parameters that I chose to be visible inside Archicad interface, which is pretty much this interface here. So the more parameters you want to add, you just add them and they can be here. So it's just a matter of how you want to arrange your geometry, how complex you want to make it. So in this case, the seat was super simple compared to the round table, and the pergola was the most complex one because it has even a multiplication rationale behind it. So pretty much this was the part that I wanted to showcase to you. Again,
Yeah,
a very good
ask
way.
a couple of questions.
Yes. Well, let's see.
Just a couple of questions regarding graphical editing of these objects.
Mm-hmm.
Because
they would
I
like
think
to have the pink points to edit.
Yeah, I know the pink hotspots are not available yet, but if you use the like AB sort of sizes, can you stretch the object from there? I haven't checked it yet.
That's a good question.
Yes, yes, Marcelo. So if you use the global dimension, you will have that stretch option.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
So basically, what Carlo is saying is this. So when we open the object, we have the main parameters that are these: the height, dimension 2, and dimension 1, which are basically the X, Y, and Z enclosed box where the object is in. If we use these to set the height of the object, then yes, you can stretch them. If you use them by a length parameter, then you can only change it by that. Is that correct, Carlo?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm using this one. It's like if I want, so in the case of the other script that I've done for the pergola, we're using the number or the integer because the integer is a full number. If I use number, it can be a fraction number. So because I want to have, you know, a full column and being repeated, I use the integer. So this obviously is just a, you know, short insight to show you that this is possible. Obviously, this is a technology that is being further developed by GRAPHISOFT. So I think that we can expect more and more developments on this. Okay.
Thanks.
But thanks for the question, Eugenio.
And Nathan also asked a similar question.
Yeah. Can editing of Paramo be done in plan or 3D, just like using their nodes? Yeah, I think everyone sees this and you want to look at this and get a pinpoint here and be able to immediately stretch or have more or less elements. So at the moment, it's mostly controlled by the interface of going to the parameters. Well, I'm happy with it for now, but I totally understand that this would be good if we could have this available. Yeah, so Miss Lim Chiao is saying that asking if Paramo is now available for Mac. I had access to a preview how should I say, installation, but soon will be coming out for Mac. So I would say during this month, I don't want to commit, but during October we should have it out. Right, James?
Yeah, this is just an internal development build, so it's still under development.
Yeah. So I can see Ms. Lim is really keen to want to be a beta tester. Sure, I'll come down and we let you try it out. So yeah, I think now I'll pass it on to Carlo because he has also very exciting stuff to show you. So we go to the Python side now. So
Okay,
Carlo,
yep. Thanks,
I'll
Marcelo.
be passing the slides, and you can voice over. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Thanks, Marcelo. So hello, everyone. My name is Carlo. I'm a team consultant at GRAPHISOFT Singapore, Malaysia. So I'm here to show some basic Python. This is the new features in Archicad 24. Okay, so yep, correct. You're on the next slide. So here is a topic. So learn the basic Python programming. So just to let you know, I'm not going to really teach you how to write Python here. We don't have much time. So learning how to write Python for non-programmers like me, so it really takes time. But normally, basic Python, you can actually learn it for 1 to 3 days, the whole day course. But if you really want to dig deeper and study, like for example, data analysis, machine learning, it really takes time. So about maybe 6 months to 3 years, maybe, depends on your background. But of course, for those hardcore programmers, they can learn Python in an hour or a day, maybe. Okay, so the next topic would be understanding Archicad Python API. So API is application programming interface. So again, this is another subject. So you need to learn Python plus the API side. Okay, as I mentioned, you need to really learn how to write Python. Then next up, learn and understand Archicad API. So we're not going to go through to all the function, commands, types, utilities in Archicad API libraries, but I'll just show you some easy commands, functions. So for example, how to get the element. But don't worry, we will share the link in the slides where you can find all the documentation for the API. Okay, but the focus of my presentation is mainly Archicad Python, what Archicad Python can do, and how Archicad Python API could help you in your daily work. Okay, so but I will walk through a simple script, which is how to change the ID. Okay, and the last part of the presentation, I will show some video from our website. There's a lot of sample scripts there that you could use that could help you as well for your day-to-day work. So to automate boring stuff. Okay, so next slide, please.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you want to learn and write basic Python, we suggest to use this online Python compiler. It's like a web-based text editor. Thanks to Jump for sharing this one. But for me, I'm using Jupyter Notebook. If you really want to use a dedicated IDE, yeah, you could use Jupyter Notebook or PyCharm and Visual Studio and many more. So it's up to you. But for this basic Python learning, this is the best one. Okay, so it's more than enough for you to explore. Then for the Python learning reference, back to the slide, sorry. Marcelo?
Yeah, sorry, I clicked outside the app, so.
Yep. No, back to the compiler. 2 more steps, I think, backwards. Yep.
Yes.
No, backward.
Backwards.
Yeah. Back to the compiler. One more. Yep. Okay. So there's a Python online resource. Actually, this is a very popular website to learn Python. It's w3school.com. There's a lot of basic tutorials there that you could use for your Python programming journey. Okay, so make sure you scan the QR code and check this website. Okay, so next, please. Okay, so Python API is properly documented. Just go to our website or scan this QR code. Then you will see the documentation there. So the latest one is the, okay, I can't read it, but the one on top is the latest library we have. Okay, so we will go through with that later. Okay, next, please. So let's move on to the interesting part of the presentation, which is the live demo. But for the live demo, we're gonna show you how to change ID of the elements. So we're not gonna go crazy writing complicated script. We will just do a simple one, okay? So which is, getting the element ID and then change it. So basically it's just using the command get the element and then set the element. Okay, so next slide, please. So this is the plan. So get all walls using get element by type, for example, wall. So you can get this command inside our documentation, the API Python wrapper. Okay, so the next step would be once we get the wall, we need to get the properties. For example, element ID. Okay, so that will be the next step. Then the rest of the step would be more on to printing or listing all the existing elements, and then list all the properties, and then set the new value. Okay, this is a very simple step that I think this is a good step for you to start. But of course, before I start the Python, let me show you some basic Python API. Okay, let me share my, oh, I can't share my screen here, Marcelo?
Yeah, yes, so you want to share the screen? Let me make you a presenter.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so yeah, so let's start with this online Python compiler. So again, I'm not going to teach you how to write Python, but this is the basics of Python. So you always see this print hello world, right? So I'm just asking Python to print hello world. So basically is hello world. Okay, so the next basic thing that you need to know is creating a variables, which is, for example, x. Let's set a value. For example, x is equal to that. Just for example only, we use this column because this is a string. Okay, then y, I will set another variables here, and I will set the value, for example, is okay. So my next condition would be this one down here. So set value. So what I'm trying to tell Python is, can you add x plus y and print it? Okay, and let's try. Okay, so there's no space, so I could actually add some space here and then reprint again. Okay, so this is a basic Python. I could say that this is like an interface and how you write Python. But actually, learning Python is really a complicated one. Actually, if you ask me, basic one you could do these small things. But if you really want to learn Python API, Archicad, so make sure you know Python, you know how to write Python, plus the API documentation. Okay, so let me move on to my Archicad. Okay, let me show you this simple exercise. So the plan here is to get all the walls. Okay, so currently my wall ID is, let me move this screen out. Okay, yep, hold on. Yeah, see my element ID, right, is FW023. So my plan is to get all the walls and then change this one automatically. Okay, so let me show you the script. Again, thanks Tom for sharing your simple Python script here. So let me open up this one. Okay, so this is a very simple Python script. Don't get scared. So basically, this person, I will just run through with you a very basic code walkthrough, and I will try to talk like a layman's term. Okay, so this person. So what you're trying to do here is to import Archicad libraries. Means if you go to the Archicad API documentation, where is it? Yeah, it's here. So go to this website. You can download this latest release of Archicad 24 B2310. Okay, so this is the Archicad libraries which I imported here. Okay, that's the first step. Then the rest would be the connection. Okay, so in our documentation in Archicad website, the Python wrapper website, you will see this step by step, and they will teach you how to write this one. So basically, it's just a connection for your Archicad library. Okay, then we have these commands. This is all the commands. I'll show you in the Python Okay, so let me click this one. Okay, now you see this one, right? So basically I imported this libraries, command, types, and utilities. Okay, so this is the reason why we have this line here. So command, types, and utilities. So just a quick example. Under commands, if you go to this Python documentation, you'll see a lot of commands here. For example, create new layout. Let's move this one a little bit. Yep, you see this one, create layout. I can call this function command. And if I scroll down here, get all elements. I can use this one to like teach Python to get all the elements, something like that. Okay, so this is the portion. Okay, so this is really important to import this library and make sure you have this line here. Okay, that is the first part. This is the basic connection. Then next part will be creating a variables and using this get element by type. So remember the command, right? Get element. So I use this and then type in the get element. So for this exercise, I want to get the wall. Okay, need to specify what element you want to get. Okay, so the first part will be getting the wall. Okay, then next part will be the properties of the wall. Okay, now I'm using utilities. Okay, get built in property ID. Okay, so under utilities, if you go to the documentation, utilities somewhere here. Okay, you can see all the utilities here, like getting the bounding boxes, get all classification system. So you could use this one. Okay, so once I have the classification and the wall, that is the time I need to create a list. That means I need to list down all the existing wall inside my file. Okay, so I need to create a for loop. Again, this is very Python syntax. So I created the loop to get all the walls and the properties and then print it. Okay, so what happened here, I'll show you in Archicad. So here in Archicad, where to locate the Python. So for those who are really new in Python, just go to option and then work environment and then go to more option. You need to enable first the Python here. Yep, you see this one. So make sure it's on. Then click OK. Then go to Window and then palettes. Okay, now you will see this Python done here. Okay, it's not here. Hold on. Check. Okay, on. Okay. Yep. Try again. Yep. Now it's here. Okay. Now it will load up the Python palettes. Then this is the dialog box that you could access your newly created script, which is I'm using Visual Code here, Visual Studio. Okay, let me open up. Okay, so it takes a while. Yep, again, so once I listed all the elements and the properties, I need to replace it. So you see these new property values, right? So we created an array and created a loop again, okay, to match the existing. So this is the part that you could actually name your ID. This is hard coded. So if you want to change it, for example, I change to wall, and I'll save this one. Okay, save. Yes. And then let's try to load. Okay, so now the Python palette is here. So this is the select folder. So this is where you could really browse and look for your. Okay, I save it inside my desktop. So it will automatically detect that there is a Python file inside. Okay, so just click this one. I'll just click refresh and then run the script. Okay, see what happened here. The first part, so it listed all the elements and the ID. This is existing, and we set new ID, which is the wall. Okay, let's go check the wall and go to the ID. Okay. Yep. So this one, we go to my Visual Studio again. So what happened here is we set the value. Okay. This is the portion that you need to get the property value of the element and set it. Okay. Is this clear? I know this is a bit heavy because most of the function and commands here is from Archicad API. So not much on the Python side. Python side is more to writing, but you need to really understand the documentation. Okay, if you are an Archicad user, it's really easy for you to understand this process. Okay, so this is the basic for the live demo.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any other question, I can move on to the complicated.
Yeah, so Carlo, basically we have the script there that is this first pi dot pi, right? That's the script, and then so basically, let's say, how would we work in a team, in a firm? You would download the script, would call it there in this Python palette, and then you will run it, right?
Yes,
so
true.
basically, in this script, it is replacing the type of or the IDs that he had with another ID, right?
Yes.
And as you mentioned, there's multiple. How should I say, multiple scripts already available. This is like a recipe. You click on it and you will run and you will do something that would be very manual for you to do, and it will run through it for the whole project, right? Or for the whole elements that the script will be touching in.
Yes, right? That's true. So here in our website, we have this sample script already. So I'm gonna play all the videos. So what I did is download all the videos inside, and then I will show you and explain a little bit. Okay, so let me maybe open up my. Okay, so here is the sample scripts we have in our website. So first script is room report generator. So basically it gets all the rooms inside and create an Excel file for this. Okay, so the good thing about this script is it creates a separate sheets for every zone or every space. Okay, so it gives you all the information inside. And the next one will be the Excel exporter. So it basically similar to the room, but it goes by element. So all the walls will be segregated, or you'll be having a separate sheets for wall, for beams, and everything. Okay, so again, this is the counterpart of the export. Now we also have this import. I know this is a bit boring because we do have the same basic built-in tools in Archicad, similar to this one. Okay, but the only difference is you need to create a schedule. Here is direct. Okay, so element ID conflict checker. This is very useful if you want to audit your file. You can actually run the script and check all the duplicates. Okay, this is very useful. You see all the duplicates has been reported. Then zone numbering, some automation. If you have like a multi-story car park and you want to automate the zones, or if you have hospitals or any like hotel that you could you want to automate the numbering, you can use this Python script. It goes, the direction is zigzag, so that's the disadvantage. Of course, you could change it to top down, but it's still zigzag. Okay, so this is zone numbering. Now you notice all the zone number change. Okay, so the next script I think is more to parking space numbering, similar to zone, but this one is car park. The good thing about here is it runs and check the classification. Means it will not affect other elements. You can classify, for example, I only want to check all the car park slots, and with this classification. So I'm not sure if this one is useful. Is automation of field naming, so it gets the outer the perimeter. And then hold on, let me pause this one. Okay, so it gets the perimeter dimension and then place it inside your zone name. Okay, so again, this is only useful for regular shapes, not like this. Okay, it gives you the perimeter dimension and place it inside the zone. Okay, so this one is very useful. So what it does, so all unused element in view map will be sorted out and will be placed in one folder. Okay, so for example, you have lots of unused items or views inside your view map, and you want to clean it up. Is the best script to go. Okay, it creates a new folder for all the unused. It really doesn't delete it, so it places all the unused inside this folder. This is a good thing about this script. But of course, you could modify the script and then just change it to delete all unused. Okay. So, but if you ask me, I'll do the same thing. So I will just put everything inside the folder. I'll double check before I delete it. Okay, so this is very useful script that is available in our website. Then it gives you the report which is unused or not unused. Okay,
yeah. So even these default ones are super useful.
Yes, so this one is not available. This is special script done by Laurent P. Tibor. Okay, so this is a classification migration. If you're using Archicad 20 and then you want to use Archicad 24, you can actually create a script to map all the classification. But again, here in Singapore, we do have add-ons for this, so just let us know, especially those SSS user. Yeah. Okay, so sorry for this one, it's not available. Okay, I mean the script is not available. This is like a bonus. Okay. So what it does is get all the elements, list down all the classification and map it. For example, you have classification 20, you want to transfer to classification 24 or version 2, you could easily do that here. As you can see here. Yep. Yes, that's it for the Python. Do you have any other question?
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Carlo. Yeah, I think Python is even more complex than Paramo.
Marcelo, can I add a bit?
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure,
so,
Chidam, go ahead.
Okay, if you want to learn the full Python, it will be very complex, right? So basically, you need to have the basic knowledge of Python. You are not going to do data analysis here. So to start with, we are thinking of doing automation. So then it's kind of quite easy in a way, right? So you don't need to learn full Python. So yeah, as Carlo shared, that is a good place to start learning Python first before you start exploring using it in your day-to-day life in your project. So if you want, as I mentioned in the answer to Lionel, there is one of the person in your team normally will be very tech savvy, like we have Carlo in our team, right? So then we can get the person to learn a bit more, and then just need to write basic recipes as you mentioned. Then always we can reuse it, right? So yeah, so it's not we need at least one person in the team who can do this kind of technical stuff. Not everyone need to learn Python script, for example. Yeah, so that will help.
Yeah, And you can, even if you know someone that knows, it's good enough.
Then yeah, that's good enough. Yeah,
But,
either you either you learn or you find someone who knows.
and another thing I see that could happen is we start having like these repositories for Python scripts. So I can see, you know, the users. I don't know if Graphisoft will do something like a, you know, like a center where we have all these scripts. But I could imagine, you know, the same way as we can see in Grasshopper scripts coming out, and then a lot of people using them, downloading and then tweaking them. I can see that this could be also a way that Python could move forward, right? If you have a script that is for you know, changing the IDs from certain name to another name, even if you want to just change that, you just open the script, and I think if you spend enough time, you will be able to understand what's going on, right?
Yeah, we just need to change in one place where we are giving that ID. Yeah.
Yes, so I think that's always, you don't need to fully understand the technology behind it to be able to use it. It's like a computer. You don't know what's happening in the background. You just need to know like the basics from the user side. So yeah, I would encourage everyone to try this. I think there are 10 or 11 that are available by default on Graphisoft website. I think that with this we can already do a lot of stuff, like the numbering of spaces, like putting the views that are unused. I think that that's very useful. If we have a very complex view map and we want to get rid of a lot of views, just by using that, we can see in which folder they are. If we want to delete that folder, we just go ahead.
And you are also asking, what if the order is more complex? I think it's for the zone numbering.
Is it for
right?
the zone order? Then the script will become more complex, Silhania, for sure.
But as long as you can define it logically.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as long as you can define it logically, we can do it in Python. That's all.
It can be done. It can be done.
Now, if you can tell me, like, you know, it goes from left to right or right to left and row by row, you know, there should be some logic. If there is no logic, it is going to be difficult. Yeah. So that's the basic thing.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
You can think it could be a bit like what happens with these Grasshopper. So just the difference is that this can sit inside Archicad. You don't need anything else to run this. So we could even like rename the zones using a Grasshopper script where we use you know, create a logic there. But if we can do it this way, imagine in a big company, it's much easier to deploy a script like this that will just run and do all this. So I think that this is one of the initial steps that we're giving. Actually, this technology was available already in Archicad 23, but it had to be installed separately. But now it comes directly with Archicad 24, so you also need to install it from inside Archicad, but it's more widely available. And I think, you know, the natural progress is that this will be more used by the industry. I can imagine that all the BIM managers soon will have to have this kind of knowledge to even to interface between different softwares and all that, this or to automate work. So let's, at least this session is good for you to be aware that this is there, and you can start giving the first steps using it. So yeah. Any further
One question, guys? Can I ask? It's hard to ask through the chat.
You can. Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Yes.
Sure.
No, I was thinking. You were mentioning about Grasshopper and making an analogy, but is it possible, for example, I understand you code this, right? You script it. But for example, this thing of some functionalities are about a specific order, you know, like the naming of the zones or the naming of any elements. Is it possible that the script of Python can read, imagine, a polyline that you draw? So the Python use that the script use that polyline to follow a complex order. Is that possible?
Yes, to answer that, okay.
Yeah, Carlo, go ahead.
Yeah, so now I think Python function is a bit limited, but it's possible to do that actually if you do have geometry intersect. Okay, so that means you're using polyline, right, to intersect with zones. So it is possible, but there's a lot of development going on, but we really cannot promise. So let's wait for the Archicad 25. But I heard there's a lot.
At the moment, if you want to do such thing, one way we can do is we can have points instead of polyline. You can have the nodes of polylines placed in with a particular ID order. Then that can be exported to text file. In Python, you can read the text file and you can generate the order. There are some workarounds available. We can do that, but at the moment, yeah. So we still had to wait for the developments to come in for certain information. So like reading the line, all those things. Hopefully, it will come in the future. So and we can work with it, right? So those things we have to ask for it and see. Hope it will come soon. But at the moment, if you want, you can export the data to text file. You know, Python is very good with JSON or text file and all those things. So if you can define the polyline as a JSON data somehow, then we can actually use that to create the logic. Yeah.
Okay, so if it's JSON, then now it's much easier than before.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. I don't know any.
It's more complicated.
Yeah, no, I know. But so what you guys mentioned is that Python can do anything. So if you export to the right way, Python will be able to use that to run the script.
Yes.
It's just this interface or capability with Archicad that is under development.
Yes. Yeah.
It's the API side. Yeah, the API side.
So
okay.
The API part is under development. Yeah. Right. And there is a question from Kai Su. Can it be to change the default layout book structure? There are some commands you can use it to create layouts or automate that part. There are functions it can be done. Yeah, so you can do that. Carlo already showed an example of removing unused layouts, right?
Yeah, this is possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I think let's hope that we'll have more and more scripts ready done. I think that's the sweet spot for this. And well, it's also good to have how we have here a kind of a group of people that are sharing even this way. If we have a kind of a community, we can start sharing between us and seeing how we can support each other. Imagine if each one of us here out of the 54 50 60 people that are attending these sessions, if you can get each one come out with one script for a simple step, and each one of these steps would take you 10 minutes every day, and you can do it with one click, you can imagine like the exponential gains you get from this. So I really think that these two things about Paramo and Python are going to be a huge boost for productivity improvement. Yeah. So guys, if we don't have any further questions, I think I will wrap up the presentation. Okay, so I would also like to call your attention for this GRAPHISOFT Learn portal that we have. At the moment, we don't have any Python script trainings and things like that, but we have other trainings available. So you just need to have a GRAPHISOFT ID and you'll be able to join this. If you're an SSA client, there are more free content for you. We also have some free content even for non-SSA clients. And there's also like other trainings that are more complex, like the BIM Manager training that is throughout 10 weeks. We have already some people in Singapore that have completed this, and the feedback is quite good. So I would invite you all to to have a look at this Graphisoft Learn website. In case you want to access the link, you can just scan this QR code. Again, you can follow us on social media, both on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We have the Graphisoft Singapore and Malaysia account, so just follow us there to be in tune with what's happening in the region. We also share every session of Archicad now in our YouTube page, so you can just look for Graphisoft SG, and you have there the previous 3 seasons completely, and the first 2 episodes, and this one should be there by this week as well. So in case you want to revisit, and if there's anything you would like to follow on my script or on what Carlo shared about Python, in case it was too tough to digest, so feel free to double check it and go through it. So we have also here the upcoming trainings. So for our SSA clients in Singapore, you can just sign up for any of these upcoming trainings. Even if you're a long-time user and you never went through a training, we advise you to join one of these because they're quite well structured. And when you go through them, you start to put some knowledge in place. Obviously, the advanced documentation and the advanced modeling have a lot of tips and tricks for these kind of areas. We have other trainings, so you can just visit graphisoft.com/sg/courses to sign up for this. And with this, I'd like to thank you all for joining this session, and see you next week for the amazing presentation from Ricardo that will talk about modular integrated construction. Not putting any extra pressure on Ricardo. And I would like to especially thank Chiram and Carlo for joining this session and help to present in such a digestible way such a hard topic, because this is really not an easy task to take on. So thank you, everyone. Ricardo says thanko, like Paramo. Very good. And see you next week then. Okay. So
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. See you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.